Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Uncovering the Hidden Agendas, a video series dedicated to showing you all how Satan has put his hand of influence on just about every aspect of society. So today's topic is the Olympics, that big event that comes around every 4 years where the best athletes in the world train for months and even years to compete for a gold, silver, or bronze medal. While all of that may be fun and stimulating and entertaining to watch, there are some plots and agendas behind the scenes that are ultimately competing for our soul as we watch these series of competitions. So let's get into that today. What are the origins of the Olympics? What are the origins of Olympic traditions? Are these traditions Christ-like or not? Let's get into it. So to start, let's look at the history of the Olympics. Do we want to catch Olympic fever? Hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising and non-stop media hype will ensure that Olympic fever will catch on. Is this a bug we want to catch? What is the Olympic spirit? What are its origins? Everyone knows that the Olympic Games began in Greece nearly 8 centuries before Christ. Every 4 years, athletes would compete against each other for the honor of being Olympic champion in their sport. This idea formed the basis for the modern games, renewed in Athens in 1896. What provided the basis for the ancient games? Religion, of course. In Greek mythology, Mount Olympus was the home of the gods, where they ran races and performed other intergalactic feats of strength against each other. In Olympia, the city where the ancient games were held, lies the remains of a great temple to Zeus within a sacred grove. This temple complex faces east, and its altar stands on a mound of sacrificial animal ashes. A temple to Hera, Zeus's wife, lies nearby. East of these temples and connected to them by a short covered porch, worshippers constructed an athletic field to reenact and celebrate the contests of the gods. We know these reenactments as the Olympic Games. Alexander Hislop in The Two Babylons identifies Hera and Zeus as Greek equivalents of Semiramis and Nimrod. Along with Hermes or Cush, this unholy trinity was worshipped under different names in various ancient cultures as mother and child or husband. They are tied together with sun worship and ultimately to worship of the fallen Hallel, son of the morning, or day star, aka Satan. So right from the get-go, this event has been about paganism, worshiping gods, honoring gods, reenacting Greek mythology. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the ancient games always remained a central expression of the Greek ideas that the body of man has a glory as well as his intellect and spirit, that body and mind should alike be disciplined, and that it is by the harmonious discipline of both that men best honor Zeus. The modern games transfer similar ideas to our day, yet in our humanistic thinking, we have transferred the honor from Zeus to man himself. When we boil everything down to the most fundamental issue, the games promote self-exaltation, one of Satan's worst characteristics. They are tests of skill, speed, and strength to see who is the greatest in a particular field. Very good point raised by this article. That's what got Satan kicked out of heaven, isn't it? Right? And transferring the honor from Zeus to man himself. So is this to say that every athlete in this competition is a god, putting on the idea of higher self? Let's move on to another article which talks more about the origins. Phoenician sports founded Olympic Games and the Stadium of Amrit. Historical writings, as well as the results of archaeological excavations, show that the Phoenicians, exiled in Greece, introduced their gods, customs, and traditions there. In Olympia, the Phoenicians had, in the 16th century BC, a sanctuary for Melkart, to whom offerings were made. Elis, the high place of Olympus, was the land of El, ground of the Phoenician supreme god established in Greece. Philon of Byblos and Josephus Flavius revealed that the Greeks later adopted in Olympia the custom of the god of Tyre, Baal Shaman, and called him Zeus Olympia. These historical offerings are testified by the exploration of Phoenician deities and works of art in Olympia. These are representations of Baal and statues of horsemen from the 8th century BC. All the writings of Greek historians show that Melkart of Tyre, known in Corinth as Melikertis, in whose honor the Isthmic Games were celebrated from the 6th century BC, was known in Olympia as Heracles, founder of the Olympic Games in honor of Baal, or Zeus. Melkart's Heracles came to Olympia from the town of Thebes, founded by Cadmus and his successors, or from Crete, where the Phoenician deities were worshipped. He brought the traditions and culture of Baal with him. The fight of Heracles Melkart with the gods at the beginning of the Olympic Games was only an echo of the custom practiced by the Phoenicians many centuries beforehand. According to Ugarit's inscriptions, Baal fought against the other gods at fixed times of the year. This made Melkart, deified hero of Tyre, follow the custom of the fight in honor of Baal. Alright, so the Phoenicians are to blame. They brought their pagan worship with them to Greece. Greece said, oh, okay, cool. And now we have a whole sporting event based on worshiping gods, whether or not they know the history of it. But the intentionality of some of the things that happen at the Olympics, as we'll get into later on in the video, I think they do know the history, and they're trying to hide it. Let's take a closer look at Olympic traditions, starting with logos from the past. You see from the 2012 logo, the 2022 logo, 2008 logo, and the 2016 logo, the theme of Zion, right? So these two have been made obvious. 2008, you can put that as the Z, I-O-N, and then in Rio 2016, Z, I-O obviously, and N turned sideways. So what's the significance of this Zion theme? Danny Boyle, the artistic director for the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony, said in the Ceremonies Guide program, "Woven through it all, there runs a golden thread of purpose, the idea of Jerusalem, of a better world that can be built through the prosperity of industry, through the caring nation that built the welfare state, through the joyous energy of popular culture, through the dream of universal communication. We can build Jerusalem, and it will be for everyone." Implementing this new world order, creating chaos and mayhem so that a new system can be brought into place that is for everyone. And even in the Paralympics logo, someone made a case that, yes, it is a lion, and this is his mane up here, but this right here kind of looks like a flame, doesn't it? And that's very similar to a commonly embraced symbol by the Illuminati, by the elite, the Baphomet, who has a flame coming out of his head. Olympic medals. We all know the significance of this, right? In each competition, everyone's competing for first, second, or third place. First getting the gold medal, second getting the silver medal, and third getting the bronze medal. But what's the significance of these medals, METALS, specifically? Medals are an important part of Wicca rituals and spells and have been prized for centuries for both their magical and practical uses. According to Wiccan author Skye Alexander in the Everything Wicca and Witchcraft book, each type of medal has its own vibration, which proves to be helpful in magic. Each medal relates to a particular planet and day of the week, has its own personality, and is the basis for alchemy. Gold, silver, iron, steel, and copper are among the metals most commonly used in Wicca. Gold relates to the sun and Sunday, and harnesses wealth, power, and protection. This precious metal is the core of many important symbolic processes in this world, whether they are economic, authoritative, or simply relating to Earth and its energy. It purifies, energizes, and strengthens the physical body, which is important for many Wiccans. More specifically, Wiccans may choose to wear gold chains around their necks to promote general health. Gold chains, very similar to a gold medal, which is also worn around your neck. Using gold and a white candle on a ritual altar may protect the magician. How about silver? Like gold, silver is an excellent conductor of energy. This metal relates to the moon and has feminine qualities of the goddess. Silver brings forth insights, creativity, and clarity during rituals. It enhances circulation and purifies blood and thoughts, which is what an athlete wants, right? They want their blood to be flowing well so that they can perform well. It is best used during rituals that involve the moon, the female force and cycles, emotional balancing, reflecting negativity, psychic awareness, and dreams. As mentioned previously, many Wiccans also choose to use silver in money-related spells. Copper was once exported in mass quantities from Cyprus, the island that is said to be the birthplace of Venus, writes Anne Marie Gallagher in the Wicca Bible. Therefore, copper is especially useful in rituals involving love, but it is also powerful when it comes to money, fertility, peace, and sensuality. Copper is often considered a lucky metal, and it may be used in tandem with lucky gemstones. Copper has the potential to conduct powerful energy in health, love, balance, and foundations. So these three metals, MEDALS, that these athletes are competing for have very Wiccan qualities. And the torch, aka the fire that never dies. A modern invention inspired by practices from ancient Greece. Here we go again. The Olympic torch relay heralds the start of the Olympic Games and transmits a message of peace and friendship along its route. The first torchbearer was Prometheus, who stole fire from Mount Olympus and gave it as a gift to mankind. And of course, Mount Olympus being the home of the gods, Zeus and Poseidon and Hades and all of the other original competitors in these Olympic Games. So for the rest of this video, we're going to take a closer look at the 2012 Summer Olympics, which took place in London. The opening and closing ceremonies were packed with witchcraft and magic and rituals and sacrilegious themes. I won't even have time to get into all of the things that happened behind the scenes in these ceremonies, but I hope to bring a few things to light through what I've researched about these ceremonies. So let's start with the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony was an eclectic mix of the pagan traditions covering the history of Britain combined with the theory of chaos and ultimately incorporating the occult beliefs and Zionist New World Order agenda of London's royal family, which includes keeping the masses comatose with many references to dreams, illusion, and sleep. Here we go. The show begins in pastoral England, complete with farmers and cricket players. The focal point of the show is a hill that is said to have magical properties, Glastonbury Tor. This recreation of the Tor is topped by a giant oak tree, as you see up here. A tree considered sacred by Celtic Druids and representative of the supreme deity. The real Glastonbury Tor is the site of Christian pilgrimages and seasonal rituals practiced by ritual magicians, witches, pagans, and of various occult and spiritual festivals. The Parade of Nations, which happened later, featured each country entering the stadium separately in alphabetical order, and each country's flag was placed at the feet of the Tor and the magical oak tree. So right off the bat, one of the very first things we're seeing before the games even get started, we're starting it off with magic, with a symbol of witchcraft and paganism. As these countrymen are working the land, a young boy sings the William Blake poem, Jerusalem. William Blake is often described as a visionary whose artistic works were heavily inspired by Druidism, Gnosticism, and Freemasonry. The poem asks if Jesus walked in England and founded New Jerusalem, as described in Revelation, among these dark satanic mills. This enigmatic expression is said to refer to England's Industrial Revolution and the dark buildings that came with it. Coincidentally, the next part of the opening ceremonies describes just that, the construction of dark satanic mills. And here is the poem. And did those feet in ancient time, referring to Jesus' feet, walk upon England's mountains green, and was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills, and was Jerusalem builded here among these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold, bring me my arrows of desire, bring me my spear, O clouds unfold, bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. That sounds like the most significant verse of the whole song. We will not rest, we will not stop until Jerusalem, or the New World Order, has been built. This next sequence of the show was called Pandemonium, which was a term coined by Milton in Paradise Lost and referred to the capital of hell, and can be reduced to Pan-Demon-Eum. These clues indicate that London did not become New Jerusalem, a metaphor for heaven, as stated by Blake's hymn, but literally hell on earth. And all of this pandemonium was brought about by a handful of elite men who got thousands of workers apparently emerge from the underworld, and build industrial England. Pandemonium could also be a pagan reference to the woodlands god Pan. There was a tiered hill which was a replica of Glastonbury Tor, the famed hill which is rumored to be the home of Avalon and where the Holy Grail was found. The workers come from out of the tree, under or inside the labyrinthed hill, just like where Peter Pan lives. The movie Pan's Labyrinth also contained a wooded labyrinth underground. Pan was later demonized as the devil by the church, and is responsible for terms like pantheism, panic, and pandemonium. Then hundreds of workers walked down the labyrinth of the hill. To illustrate the industrial age, the workers helped to pull up 7 enormous pipes or smokestacks with smoking chimneys, men rising up with them, in addition to 5 beam engines, a water wheel, and a crucible. The energy of their sweat and toil. Announcers of one broadcast mentioned the phrase, "order out of chaos." A sperm-like looking fuse ignited a large ring of fire. The sweat and turmoil energy of the men forged 5 glowing golden rings which came together overhead to form the Olympic rings. The unfolding of pandemonium is depicted using 2 very distinct groups: elite thinkers, who decide and oversee the project, and workers, who work in the field and take orders. All of this happens in the Olympic Stadium, which is surrounded by giant triangles with illuminated capstones, a classic symbol representing an elite ruling above masses. The final product of pandemonium is one big messy gray mass full of satanic mills and 7 phallic chimneys spitting out smoke. So in other words, many elements of this set, mostly the mix of vulnerable children in a hospital with fairy tales and the concept of blurring the lines between reality and fiction, are all associated with mind control programming. Like The Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, the story of Peter Pan is heavily used in mind control programming, as victims are told to escape to Neverland while inducing disassociation from reality. One commentator even commented, "So there's quite a dark side to the ceremony, but the light around the hospital beds is like a big contradiction, you know?" And we've talked about this. Light and dark, white and black, red and blue. Commonly used theme by the Illuminati. Opposites attracting, duality, right? The Illuminati loves using that theme. A later segment opened with the tolling of the bell and a giant bright orange sun with a clump of dancers dressed in dark red clothing humped over perhaps the dark rift at the center of the galaxy. They jumped up in a cloud of dust and started moving to the sound of a heartbeat, and the sun slowly rose above them. Scotland's Emily Sand sang the hymn "Abide With Me" as if it were a hymn to the sun deity. So let's look at a couple of these verses. "Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me." So the darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. So yes, if we're singing this hymn in church, right, Lord being God, but in this case, sounds like Lord is referring to the sun. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. They want the sun back. Something about the darkness is giving them anxiety. Swift to its close, ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Our sun god is gone. There's nothing to be happy about anymore. Change and decay and all around I see, O thou who changest not, abide with me. I need thy presence every passing hour. We're worshiping you as a God. We always need to see you. Through cloud and sunshine, Lord, abide with me, obviously. Hold thou thy cross before my closing eyes, shine through the gloom and point me to the skies. Heaven's morning breaks and earth's vain shadows flee. In life and death, O Lord, abide with me. So just one of many cases of taking something holy, taking something positive, and turning it negative. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? But when there's a big old sun on the set and a lot of church history is rooted in paganism and sun worship, it's kind of hard to do that. The large bell was prominently displayed behind them, which featured a light inside the horn of the bell. An older black gentleman, who at one point was touching the ground with his right hand, perhaps to pull energy from the root chakra of the earth, approached a 10-year-old boy who had emerged from the dark cloud of dust earlier and represented hope. The dancer takes from the young boy an imaginary ball, which can represent his life force or maybe his soul. Once the dancer takes the child's soul, he taunts him with it and takes it away from him. The boy attempts to take it back, but it is no use. He cannot do it. Apparently drained and resigned, the boy embraces the dancer who stole his soul, symbolizing being integrated into the dark side. He led him into the center of the dark rift. To conclude the segment, the boy lifted up the spear of energy to the sun with the ring of stars of David as a background. This was as if to say, I am reborn with the dark side. I have sold my soul, and I'm okay with that. As they tolled the giant bell one more time, Paul McCartney was seated at the piano almost directly under the giant bell. He played and sang the song Hey Jude while the whole world watched the cauldron burn. But is Jude a nickname for Judas? Judas being a hero for many occultists, because of course he betrayed Jesus, and occultists support anyone that betrays Jesus or is in opposition to Christianity. Whether or not Jude is Judas, Paul engaged the crowd in the several-minute-long ending, with all the crowd chanting like a mantra over and over again, na 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 na. As the media program explains, nearly 4 minutes of Hey Jude 7 minutes are composed of the famous ecstatic na 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 sing-along chorus. The final chorus was sang 16 times, so the syllable na was chanted 176 times in the song's final chorus. First of all, na or na is negative and is synonymous with no. There is another meaning to all the na-nas. Na-na, the father of Inanna, was the Sumerian moon god, also known as Sin to the Akkadians, and the father of Inanna or Ishtar or Venus or Lucifer. So McCartney could be singing about Inanna or Venus or Lucifer. As an aside, it is interesting to note that when a moon is visible during the daytime, it is called a Judas moon, perhaps because Jesus is associated with the sun, so his betrayer would be the moon. So it begs the question, was the 2012 Olympics opening ceremony a magical ritual of witchcraft? I believe it's safe to say yes. Here are all of the elements of witchcraft that were featured in the Olympics. A bell, a cauldron, a cone of power, labyrinth, pentacle, a spell, a moon, and a moon tree, all associated with paganism and rituals and magic, and ultimately the devil. Let's look at the closing ceremony a little bit. Contrarily to the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony was all about nations blending together into one giant global community, one of the goals of the New World Order, as we have talked about already. While at the beginning of the games, athletes entered the stadium behind their national flag and a banner bearing the name of their countries, all of that was gone at the closing ceremony. Everyone was mixed together. You see a lot of people wearing white. Everyone's wearing white, actually. We then witnessed a weird segment. Performers used blocks to build a pyramid at the center of the stage and began literally revering it. And again, pyramid, very embraced symbol by the Illuminati. So we got some devil worship going on here. Kate Bush performed Running Up That Hill, a Deal with God remix. Mummies or Caliban carrying 303 white boxes representing the 303 Olympic events built a pyramid or triangular prism with them. Then they all knelt on their knees in worship and then all laid down on the floor. In the chorus of the song, Kate Bush sings, "Do you want to hear about the deal that I'm making? It's you and me. And if only I could, I'd make a deal with God and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building, if only I could. You don't want to hurt me, but see how deep the bullet lies. Unaware, I'm tearing you asunder. Ooh, there is thunder in our hearts." The real question is, what God is the song referring to, and what kind of deal? Most deals are made with the devil. At one point of the song, a drawing was shown of an angel or winged hunter with a bow and arrow aimed, whether Artemis or Diana or Sagittarius or Orion. After lying down and the song finished, a couple of gold medal winners were shown displaying their gold medals with the Greek goddess of victory, Nike. So if there are icons of gods and mythology going on while supposedly singing about God, yeah, it's not the God in heaven we're talking about here. John Lennon's Imagine, and a specific verse from it, was considered by some observers to be somewhat out of place in the context of the Olympic ceremony. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing the world. Again, sounds like New World Order to me. And what shape are they in as the song is being sung? A pyramid. Immediately after George Michael finished singing his song White Light about the white light and freedom while flaunting a giant skull for a belt buckle, human dancers unite to form a skull with a subliminal reference and message of connecting together. Annie Lennox of the Eurythmics slowly rode in on a haunted pirate or ghost dirge ship which crept along while she sang her song Little Bird from Francis Ford Coppola's soundtrack to Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. There was a huge black-winged bird of death right behind her on the boat. Of course, vampires steal the life force from their victims. So again, duality. Light, George Michael. Darkness, death, with Annie Lennox. The media guide referred to the fact that singer Marissa Monte enters with a giant gown referencing goddess of the sea, Yamanya. Yamanya is mainly a goddess of Santeria or voodoo, and in Haiti she is known as La Serene, or the mermaid. From Wikipedia, they portray her as a woman rising out of the sea. So another goddess. We're seeing so many gods and goddesses portrayed in this ceremony. And lastly, the Phoenix. After more musical performances, the ceremony heavily focused on the Olympic cauldron. Before it is extinguished, it slightly opens up and a fiery phoenix appears above it. The symbol of the phoenix, the bird that is reborn from its ashes, is extremely important to occult secret societies and consequently to the occult elite. While the phoenix represents spiritual rebirth on an individual level, it can also represent the rebirth of the entire world from its ashes as a new world order. And you see we got a circle or a globe looking figure under that phoenix. Right after the apparition of the phoenix above the Olympic cauldron, the boy band Take That performed a song with a rather symbolic title considering the context, Rule the World. After the song, a bunch of ballet dancers dressed as phoenixes hopped around as if revering and giving tribute to the fiery bird above them. At midnight, the Olympic cauldron and the petals representing each country are slowly extinguished, but the phoenix representing the occult elite and the New World Order stays lit above it. In other words, as the nations of the world slowly disappear, a New World Order will emerge. So out of all the chaos that is created by the elite, politically, socially, economically, and dare I even say spiritually, the New World Order will be implemented. The powers that be are going to try to take away all aspects of religion, all aspects of Christianity, all aspects of Jesus, while trying to pin down the idea that it's peaceful, that it's for everyone, that it's ecumenical. So I hope that gives you a very clear idea of what the Olympics are. From the very beginnings of this event, it's been all about Greek mythology and paganism, and has nothing to do with Christ whatsoever. And these opening and closing ceremonies are just more proof that these gods are being commemorated, celebrated, and put right in our faces to show that the powers that be are worshiping them and trying to get us to do the same. So this reality is all around us. Super Bowl halftime shows, TV shows, movies, music videos. What looks like entertainment is actually rituals, worship services for the Church of Satan. So be careful about what you're watching. Be careful about what you're taking in, because the powers that be, little by little, the more they can encourage us, influence us into taking these things in subconsciously, it is their hope that they will condition us and prepare us for this new world order. So I hope all of that made sense. I hope you can take something from it and apply it to your life. Be vigilant, my friends.